They've done a great job of rigging this. They've done a great job of rigging this league. The league, they're not even being subtle. They're not even being subtle. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
If it wasn't already, this is Indiana Fever versus the world. Season now, we've got proof the Fever's game against their reigning champion New York Liberty had everything you'd want: star power, high stakes, a sold-out crowd. In Indy and the excitement of a game for many, it felt like a championship preview. Two of the league's most exciting teams going head-to-head in front of a national audience. It should have been a significant victory for the WNBA, but obviously the WNBA. So naturally, there had to be controversy, and once again, it came from the refs.
I can't believe what I'm about to say. The Indiana Fever, with the strongest, loudest, most intimidating home court advantage in all the WNBA, just got robbed at home. I saw it with my own two eyes live on CBS.
Just like last season, fans were left scratching their heads or straight up shouting at their monitors, missed calls, questionable fouls, and moments that swung the game in favor of the reigning champs. The outrage was swift. Social media lit up with fans and analysts pointing it out.
But I will just say the lopsided officiating was absolutely insane.
And the controversy extends beyond about a few missed calls, though. Let's be those were clearly brutal. And we'll get into them in just a second. The problem is that this is a part of a large, greater pattern. A pattern that began the preseason last year was worse, and now is reaching a boiling point just a few games into the regular season. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just wait until you hear some of the stats about how unevenly the ceremonies have been conducted against the Fever. This season, it's not just a few games. Every game, and the numbers are downright embarrassing for the league. It's gotten so severe that even the Fever has enough. Head coach Stephanie White didn't hold back. After the Liberty game, it was diplomatic and not vague or vague at all. A straight-up warning shot, and even Caitlin Clark, who usually keeps it cool, threw in a little dig of her own. Let's get into exactly what happened, but first, like this video if you think the refs are unfair to the Fever. Comment if you disagree, and don't forget to subscribe.
This is another year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
What's about to happen, and what's got fans, analysts, and even players outraged is not a one-off bad night by the officials. This is a pattern-long, frustrating, borderline dangerous pattern, which dates all the way to last season. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, it was obvious she was going to be treated differently. The physicality ramped up, players were playing with more freedom, and the referees, they swallowed their whistles. It began early and frequently, and there were moments last year where I could see that Caitlin was shaken.
I feel like I'm getting hammered. I don't know. I appreciate Christy getting a tech too. I don't know.
And then naturally, you had Kennedy Carter incident. The league heard about the hit. Caitlin Clark was taken aback by the ball in a situation that was clearly frustrating. Foul. And what did the officials do? Called it a common foul, not a flagrant. It was the boiling point for many fans. Unless that were to be upgraded in real time, what would? And the worst part, the non-calls did not end there. Followed Caitlin right into the playoffs.
Like, even in the playoffs last year, do we not remember when Caitlin Clark is shooting a layup and she's in the air and Marina Mabry commits a block, a hit on the arm, a blocking foul, like a whatever hit on the arm foul, everything. She just comes late and is like, Caitlin's not getting a layup. Jumps sideways into her, takes her arms out, knocks Caitlin on the ground, and then stops because she knows she's fouled, and the referees are like, play on, play on.
In all honesty, there are too many examples to even show in one video. You could use to make an entire documentary. The missed calls by themselves, and nobody's requesting a bubble wrap manual here. Players are always going to play Caitlin hard because she's Caitlin Clark. She's most of the time the best player on the court. That comes with a target on your back, and there's no problem with hard fouls or letting the game flow. But the problem, the consistency, just hasn't been there. It seemed like the Fever always got the short end of the foul stick, and things didn't get any better in the preseason.
It is kind of interesting that Caitlin Clark hasn't been to the free throw line at all.
Caitlin Clark did not receive any 0 free throws. And it is not because she wasn't getting fouled, it's because it was completely ignored by the referees. In the first few games alone, there's already a clear pattern. Clark drives, takes contact, is compromised, and no whistles remain in the pockets. Eventually, the frustration boiled over. You could see it in her body language, and you could definitely feel it when she picked up a tech just for pointing out the glaringly so. And in the 3 regular Games leading up to the matchup against the Liberty, the imbalance continued. Stephanie White's going to lay out the numbers in a minute, and they're astonishing, and I mean as clear as day. Disparity, but some people still ignored it off, said it's just early season stuff, that circumstances would improve and the officiating would get more consistent, while the Fever's marquee matchup against the Liberty, the defending champs, was the perfect test. And before we get into the controversy, let's be clear, this was a great game full of drama. The crowd was loud, the playoff-level energy, and both teams arrived.
I mean, they have 9 baskets, and I have them unofficially with 7 right-handed layups.
Clark found a hole in the defense.
Now Caitlin's going to wait for Aaliyah Boston here.
Goes over the top, Boston, the catch fading away, goes off the glass.
Lexi Hall was a spark plug, making big plays all over the court, and Aaliyah Boston reminded everyone exactly why she was the first choice in 2023. And as you saw, there was a great connection between Caitlin and Aaliyah's rapport was obvious. Caitlin was threading the needle on passes, and Aaliyah was finishing strong in the paint. They were reading each other, communicating mid-play, and causing serious issues for New York's defense.
This is the best passing connection I can remember since John Stockton was feeding Karl Malone back in the Utah days.
And while Caitlin didn't have an all-time great performance by her usual standards, she still delivered the kind of moments that remind you exactly who she is. She hit tough shots, made jaw-dropping passes, and had a couple of sequences that blew the roof off the building even on an off night. She was able to escape from her fingerprints all over the game, and that's what separates stars from, despite not being her loudest stat line, but it was still a performance packed with highlight reel plays.
No pass shot possessions for New York. Clark, step back 3. Oh, she hit it! And draws the foul! Out defending. Clark trying to create some airspace. Long 3 at the horn. Oh!
The value of the entertainment was 2 teams with similar records in the playoffs, intensity, and a roaring crowd in Indy. This is the kind of marquee you want. Matchup the WNBA had hoped for all the ingredients. Stars shining, drama building, and the final score was close through, but when the final whistle blew, none of that was the headline. All anyone could talk about was the referees.
It was one of the worst referee games I've seen.
The referees for again, what, the second game in a row, I guess? Definitely for the second game of the season, the referees swallowed their freaking whistles.
The disparity in foul calls was clear as day. The Liberty were living at the free throw line, getting 32 attempts. Meanwhile, the Fever just 15. That's more than double in a close game. That kind of disparity isn't like this. Just noticeable, it's decisive, and it wasn't just the quantity, it was how the fouls were called. The Liberty were getting touch fouls while Caitlin and her teammates were checking her body. With no whistle, it felt like 2 different rule books were in play.
The New York Liberty were at the line 32 times to the Fever's 15, and it was just so obvious. Now, I get calling fouls, I get not calling fouls, but in this instance, there were similar fouls that were not getting called on the New York Liberty that were going towards the Fever. If you're gonna call every ticky-tacky foul, okay, call it, but call it for both teams now.
But then there's this Caitlin Clark, just like in the preseason, and just like all of last season had been hacked. And the officials just let it go, no calls, no protection. And it begins to feel at some point deliberate, like they're sending a message to the rest of the league when it comes to guarding Caitlin Clark. It's open season.
They just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the Fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical, you just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them be hacked. Late in the game with the Fever, hack them. Not being physical, hack them. Don't go for the ball, hack them.
However, if the general officiating wasn't the final moments already brutal? Of the game absolutely clinched it, tie game in the Fever's possession, perfect position for a chance to steal a win against the reigning champs, and then the officials took over.
What was that play? Oh my god, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, foul on her hip. That's a hack! That's a hack! That's a hack! Oh my god, they hacked the one upon her and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
Beginning with the game tied, and the Fever looking to take the lead, Dana Bonner drove to the basket and got hammered.
To the hip. Clark dumps it off. Bonner blocked at the top.
Caitlin.
Huge body contact, everything you'd expect a whistle, but nothing happened. The phantom foul Lexi Hall then appeared. Played flawless defense against Sabrina. Ionescu was not the one who started contact, and yet 2 free throws were. Awarded it was the ultimate gut punch, and unfortunately the refs weren't done. And then came the worst of them all, the ultimate possession.
This is the worst one. There's 1 foul. There's 2 fouls. Then she holds her, watch this, with her shoulder and on her arm when she follows through and then fouls her for the 4th time on her arm.
With one last chance to tie, or when the game, Caitlin Clark was fouled multiple times and the refs swallowed the whistle. Caitlin was absolutely furious. You could see it on her face, immediately arms out, yelling in disbelief. And the refs' wildest moment wouldn't even look her in the eye, and WNBA analysts were in absolute disbelief with what they just saw.
Literally, the Fever have a chance to win the game, to go up 2, they jump through her back. Caitlin Clark shooting a shot, and Natasha Howard does the dumbest thing she can possibly do by fouling Caitlin Clark on a 3-point shot, and you ignored it.
There are multiple fouls on the play, multiple fouls. She hacks her across the wrist as she's reaching to try to slap the ball away, and it was just an arm hack, just a hack. And then as Caitlin tries to go up into, she's going left, but she's trying to go up into her shooting motion, there's body foul, and then there's an arm foul.
And it wasn't just analysts, the referees completely lost the fans. Across social media, because this wasn't a few missed calls here, and their game's inconsistency screamed that the anti-Caitlin and anti-Fever bias is still alive, and well, fans pointed out that Clark was getting mauled on drives with no whistles while her opponents were being gift-wrapped free throws for glancing contact.
The WNBA referees are getting destroyed. And I mean, they are getting crushed online. Honestly, they're getting crushed during every single game. I've seen a lot of people come out and say, the WNBA referees, is this what it's about? Because they're the worst referees in the history of any referees.
And that's the thing, it's not just a one-off, it's a pattern, a trend, a fact-backed reality. And it has become so bad that even Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White are starting to speak up. Those clips are coming up in a moment, but first, let's talk about what in fact fans are pointing to: the free throw disparity.
The Indiana Fever this season have a discrepancy minus 31 when it comes to free throws. That doesn't seem right.
That's currently, the Fever are minus 31. In free throw opportunities, that is a staggering gap in a league where games are often decided by just a few possessions being on the wrong end of a 30-plus free throw swing is more than just a red flag, it's a 5-alarm fire. And sure, usually players and coaches bite their tongues, they try to stay neutral, they chalk it up to just part of the game. But when you stack up this kind of imbalance with all the missed calls, the non-whistles, the game-changing moments that consistently go against them, something needed to be said, and Stephanie White, she said it loud and clear, she'd had enough.
It's taken 4 games for Stephanie White to say, you know what? I've had absolute enough. Game 1, okay. Game 2, okay. Game 3, all right. But today was the last straw.
Shout out to Stephanie White. The Fever coach stood up for her team. She demanded respect, and she blasted the refs.
In her post-game press conference, Stephanie White made no apologies and proceeded straight at the ceremony, calling out the blatant disregard that had been building all season.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
This isn't something coaches want to do. No one likes to call out the refs, but when it becomes so obvious, you don't have a choice. At some point you need to speak up, and you need to allow the league know this kind of nonsense isn't just being noticed, it's not going to be tolerated.
Stephanie White has lost her mind over it, and I don't blame her. I mean, at least she's standing up for the team, making it a public issue. So now the WNBA is at least on notice that everybody knows it now, that this team is not getting any calls.
But perhaps even more importantly, it sends a message to her team that she's got their back, that she can see what's going on outside, and she's not just going to stay quiet. And hope it fixes itself, she's willing to fight on their behalf, even if it means risking a fine or causing controversy.
So by White speaking up, not only is it a tactic to get a better whistle from the refs, but it's also a statement to say, I've got your backs to the team. And I think it needed to be said, particularly when applying it to the Indiana Fever.
A back-and-forth game where the team made mistakes, missed opportunities, and didn't exactly play a masterpiece. Despite fighting their hearts out in front of their home crowd and stood a chance of winning it, in the end possession, what happened with the officiating can be flat-out demoralizing. Moments like that make a big impact, because when the calls don't go your way despite all that effort, it doesn't just sting, it lingers. And that's why Stephanie White stepping up matters. It sends a signal too. She saw it in her locker room, that she's not brushing it off, that she's willing to speak up even when it might cost her the kind of leadership she needs to build trust, especially for a new team still figuring each other out. As for Caitlin, she was the one who was run over by the final play. No whistle, no help. Everyone wanted to know how she felt about it. And while she didn't throw the refs under the bus, she didn't hide her frustration either. Her response was sufficient, or saying it outright.
But yeah, I did not my best shooting night. I thought I could take care of the ball a little bit better. Had some tough ones. Ones where my arm was getting grabbed, but whatever. But yeah, just keep at it there, keep shooting it.
Then Aaliyah came along. Boston, who went with the classic no comment approach. She kept it cool, It was professional, but nothing was said. Everything.
Physical into the game. Trying to work this the right way. How do you accept officiating without letting it, I guess, affect how you go about and execute the rest of the game?
Yeah, when it comes to accepting, it's like we don't really have a choice because they're going to call what they want to call. And so for us, I mean, even for me, I miss some of those easy around the rim. I think for me, I have to put them in the rim for just post-talk. And we just have to finish through contact. If we don't get it, we don't get it, but we have to give ourselves the best opportunity to get that basket.
Now, here's the thing: worse than how the officiating influenced the game's outcome is the fact that it's been an ongoing problem, and it's making the league look bad, because this isn't just a one-off missed calling in the last minute. This is a pattern, a trend, and it's unfolding in front of millions of new eyes. Caitlin Clark has brought in an entirely new audience, fans who may be new to the WNBA, but not new to basketball. These people know the game. They are aware of what constitutes a foul, recognize when a whistle is fair and when complete garbage, and more importantly, they're watching every night, every play. So when they see one team consistently getting the benefit of the doubt while another team can't by a call, they're not confused, they're annoyed. And it's not just Caitlin Clark games. It's not just the Fever. There's frustration throughout the league.
BG, right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream is being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're going to send it back to you guys. Very important question.
This is not one of rookie reaction. This is a WNBA veteran who has seen everything. And even she has had enough. Right now, the league is trying to make Caitlin Clark fans permanent WNBA fans. But instead of seizing the moment, they're shooting themselves in the careless footing of the officials' inconsistent and at times flat-out embarrassing. And when you stack that on top of viral lowlight reels like Angel Reese snatching 5 memory sticks from her own sons, but misses in less than 20 seconds. The worst possible message: this isn't just bad basketball, it's a branding disaster. Star players cannot be promoted, who are either getting hacked with no calls or playing in front of your child brother on a plastic hoop in the driveway. More eyes are watching now than ever before, and every missed call, every biased whistle in the assignment has been blown. This is how it all plays out in front of millions. Isn't the time for unforced errors, and it definitely isn't the time for favoritism. It's getting ugly, and the Fever, they've had enough. Their coach has, their players are experiencing it. The spoken question is whether the fans will the league step up before it's too late, because they have the time, they do got the audience, but if they don't get it together fast, they're going to lose both. If you're still here, drop a goat in the remarks, because precisely that is, I appreciate you sticking with me. The next time